My name is Claire. I live in a cozy suburban house with my husband, Ethan. On the surface, our life seemed picture perfect. A charming home, steady jobs, and a quiet neighborhood. But beneath the surface, things were far from ideal. It all started one autumn evening when Ethan came home later than usual. His demeanor was different, distracted, almost evasive. As he walked past me in the living room, I noticed he was clutching an envelope. "What's that?" I asked casually. He froze for a second before mumbling, "Just some work stuff?" "Nothing important." He disappeared into the study and shut the door. My curiosity piqued. Ethan was always open about his work. Why the secrecy now? That night, while Ethan was asleep, I couldn't shake off my unease. The envelope lingered in my thoughts. Was it really work-related? The next day, Ethan left for work early, leaving his study unlocked. I hesitated, then stepped inside. On his desk, the envelope sat, slightly torn. Against my better judgment, I peeked inside. It contained a set of legal documents, some with Ethan's signature and others blank. But what caught my attention was a name I didn't recognize. Sarah Mitchell. The name was unfamiliar, but the accompanying letter hinted at something deeper. It was addressed to Ethan, thanking him for his help and expressing excitement about their future plans. My heart raced. What future plans? I shoved the papers back into the envelope and left the room, pretending nothing had happened. Over the next few weeks, Ethan grew more distant. He started coming home later and brushing off my questions with vague answers. "Work's just hectic," he would say. But his eyes betrayed him. One evening, I decided to confront him. "Ethan, what's going on? You've been so distant lately." He sighed heavily, rubbing his temples. "Claire, not now. I'm just stressed, okay?" He stormed out of the room, leaving me more confused than ever. My suspicions grew when a woman started appearing outside our house. She never came to the door but always lingered across the street, watching. She was about my age, with long dark hair and an air of familiarity. One afternoon, I mustered the courage to approach her. "Can I help you?" I asked, trying to sound firm. She looked startled, then smiled nervously. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to alarm you. I'm just looking for someone." Before I could press further, she turned and walked away quickly. That night, I told Ethan about the encounter. His reaction was strange, a mix of surprise and worry. "Did she say her name?" he asked, almost too eagerly. When I shook my head, he seemed relieved but refused to elaborate. "It's probably nothing," he muttered, avoiding eye contact. The woman's presence became more frequent, and my unease grew. One day, as I was cleaning out the attic, I stumbled upon a box labeled Ethan's College Days. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. Inside were old photos, notebooks, and letters. Among them was a picture of Ethan with the mysterious woman. They looked close, their arms wrapped around each other. My stomach churned. Who was she? I confronted Ethan that evening, holding the photo as evidence. "Who is she, Ethan?" His face turned pale. "Where did you find that?" he asked, his voice trembling. "In the attic," I replied. "Ethan, I need answers. Who is she and why is she watching our house?" He hesitated before finally admitting, "Her name is Sarah. She was someone I dated in college." My heart sank. Why is she here now? Ethan struggled to explain. "I don't know, we haven't spoken in years." His explanation didn't satisfy me, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt, for now. However, my trust was wearing thin. I started noticing more inconsistencies in Ethan's behavior. One day, I followed him after he left for work. Instead of heading to his office, he drove to a small cafe downtown. Through the window, I saw him meet Sarah. They talked intensely, and at one point, Sarah placed her hand on his. My chest tightened. Was he lying to me this whole time? When Ethan came home that evening, I confronted him again. "I saw you with Sarah today," I said, my voice shaking. He froze, then tried to deny it. "You followed me?" he accused, deflecting. "Ethan, don't turn this on me. What's going on between you two?" Ethan finally admitted. "Sarah reached out to me a few months ago. She said she needed help." "Help with what?" I demanded. He hesitated. She's going through a tough time. I felt obligated to be there for her." His words felt rehearsed, insincere. I couldn't take it anymore. "If you care about our marriage, Ethan, you need to cut ties with her," I said firmly. He agreed, but his reluctance was evident. For a while, things seemed to improve. Sarah stopped appearing outside, and Ethan's behavior returned to normal. But the peace was short-lived. One evening, I found a note slipped under our door. It read, "You don't know the whole story." There was no signature, but I knew it had to be from Sarah. The note sent a chill down my spine. What did she mean? What story was I missing? I decided to meet Sarah myself. I waited near the cafe where Ethan had met her before, hoping she would show up. Hours passed before she finally appeared. I approached her, my heart pounding. "We need to talk," I said. Sarah seemed hesitant, but eventually agreed. We sat down, and she began to speak. "Claire, you deserve to know the truth," she said. "Ethan and we had a child together." Her words hit me like a thunderbolt. "What?" I stammered, struggling to process the revelation. "It was years ago, before he met you," Sarah continued. "I never told him because I didn't want to disrupt his life. But now, I had no choice. Our son Liam is very sick. He needs a bone marrow transplant, and Ethan is the only match." The room spun around me. Ethan had a child? Why hadn't he told me? Sarah's plea sounded genuine, but I couldn't ignore the possibility that she might be manipulating the situation. I left the cafe without a word, my mind racing. When I confronted Ethan that night, he looked devastated. "It's true," he admitted. "I didn't know about Liam until Sarah showed up. I was trying to figure out how to tell you." "You should have told me from the start," I said, my voice trembling with anger and betrayal. Ethan pleaded for my understanding, but I needed time to process everything. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. Digging deeper, I discovered that Sarah's financial situation was dire. She had racked up significant debt, and I began to wonder if her motivations were entirely about Liam's health. Confronting Ethan with this, he seemed torn. "Liam is my son, Claire. I can't just ignore him," he said. Despite my feelings, I agreed to meet Liam. He was a sweet, bright-eyed boy who had an undeniable resemblance to Ethan. Seeing him melted some of my anger, but it didn't erase the betrayal I felt. Sarah's presence in our lives became a constant, and the strain on my marriage grew. As the months passed, Ethan and I drifted further apart. I felt like a stranger in my own home, constantly questioning his loyalty. The final straw came when I discovered another letter from Sarah in Ethan's jacket pocket. It was clear that their communication hadn't ceased, despite his promises. That night, I packed my bags and left. Ethan begged me to stay, but I couldn't continue living in a web of lies. I filed for divorce and started rebuilding my life. The experience left me scarred, but it also made me stronger. I realized that trust is the foundation of any relationship, and without it, everything crumbles. Months later, I heard through mutual friends that Liam had received the transplant he needed and was doing well. As for Ethan and Sarah, I didn't want to know. I had closed that chapter of my life and was focused on writing a new one where I was the author of my own happiness